there are two different types of Bitcoin strategic reserves that could possibly happen in America. We know that President Trump had promised to create a federal Bitcoin strategic reserve, meaning that all of the Bitcoin that has been confiscated from people doing naughty things would be held instead of sold like we've done in the past. So that's coming, that's happening. It's already been put into motion. And it's not going to cost the government any additional money to do this. So I have no problem with it. If you confiscate a good, just as long as the restitution is paid, we should hold on to that particular asset if it does or it could have worth in the future. Now, the second type of Bitcoin strategic reserve is going to be done on the state level. What does that mean? Well, each state has their own different rules that they are able to make up, laws, bills, acts, whatever that is. And people go ahead and vote on that. And we do have a lot of discourse about this in the United States of America on what states can and cannot do. Great, fine, fantastic. So there's a group called Satoshi Act that's run by my really good friend Dennis Porter, wonderful human being, really great Bitcoin advocate, really just great for the crypto space in general. So what he's been doing is he's kind of been going around educating different governments on the state level to start pushing Bitcoin strategic reserves, because those could have benefits long term. So Arizona, we got the first update that the Bitcoin strategic reserve on that state level has been vetoed. And I'm going to go ahead and read to you the exact statement. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs has vetoed the state's strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation after it was passed by the House and Senate. She called Bitcoin an untested investment. We are going to come back to that in a moment. Let's go ahead and talk about this bill by Wendy Rogers. She's awesome too. She follows me on X. Also, if you're brand new to the show, I'm WendyO. I talk everything crypto every single day. I literally do this 24/7. I sit in front of the internet. I trade. I do different things in crypto. And I bring you guys the top crypto news faster than anyone else in a media format. So make sure you smash the like, drop me a comment, and of course subscribe to the channel so you get more and you don't miss out. And if you want to share this, it helps me, but likes are free. So Wendy Rogers, she clapped back and she said, I understand the governor vetoed my Arizona Bitcoin reserve bill. That is unfortunate. Politicians don't understand that Bitcoin doesn't need Arizona. Arizona needs Bitcoin. I will refile my bill next session. As she vetoes it again, I'm sure Governor Andy Biggs will be happy to take credit for signing the bill. This already proven 16-year innovation will protect our wealth. So let's go ahead and discuss what's happening with this bill. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a problematic take, a take from the other side. I don't like debt. I do not think people should invest if you are in debt. I do think that we need to balance budgets. We need to see exactly how much money we have, see where it's going before we do any type of spending. This goes from American households. This goes from college students. This goes from people all over the spectrum. That's just me. However, we in the United States of America have not only been in recession, but we are under economic or monetary uncertainty, and it's pretty scary. We have been in a recession. I don't care about your definitions that all these fancy pants economists come up with. Great, fine, fantastic. However, when I see people not being able to get jobs, having to put food, shelter, and energy on a credit card, that's problematic for me, okay? Now, should Arizona invest in Bitcoin when things might not be good with their financials? An investment is risky. It carries risk. Just because you invest in something doesn't mean you are going to get a return on it. Yes, Bitcoin is 16 years old. Yes, we have seen Bitcoin have volatile pumps and volatile drops. Now, should the state of Arizona invest in Bitcoin? Well, is it an untested investment? Kind of, sort of. It's still kind of new. But at the same time, if you look at something like IBM, or you look at a stock like Apple, or you look at the fundamentals of different solid investments, we could say that Bitcoin has outperformed and has done incredibly well. We have people like Warren Buffett that come out and say that people should diversify and own other currencies or other assets. We have BlackRock, Goldman Sachs. We have all these massive traditional financial companies that are very interested in Bitcoin. Now, do I think it's good to invest when you don't have disposable income? No, no way, shape, or form. However, governments are going to invest anyways. So if they are able to modify some of their investments that have proven to be poor investments and acquire Bitcoin instead, I don't see an issue with that. I don't see why you can't rebalance your portfolio and acquire Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is a great vessel, a great investment opportunity, just a great thing to hold in general, similar to gold. Okay, that's not me telling you to buy Bitcoin, but I think everybody should own at least $1,000 of Bitcoin just in case. Why not? We're dumping money into 401ks, we're dumping money into all these traditional financial assets that are heavily manipulated by the traditional financial system, is what it is. So I don't see an issue with creating a Bitcoin strategic reserve. However, I do understand the little bit of uncertainty considering that literally considering the financial shape the United States of America is in, okay? Because that can be a little bit scary over there. Because again, investment, just because you decide to invest in something doesn't mean that you are going to get a return on it, okay? And a lot of people have this really convoluted idea that I'm gonna invest in my 401k, I'm gonna put money here, I'm gonna put money there, and I'm guaranteed to make a return. Okay, so we do have that side of it. I do think that Bitcoin is one of these assets that is an outlier considering that what is happening. And I do think that we should have Bitcoin strategic reserves in the States if we are able to rebalance the portfolios. We do not want to take taxpayer dollars and dump it into an asset. I just don't think that that's a good thing considering the financial state that we're in. I love Bitcoin. I think it's fantastic, but I do not think we need to take more money and dump it into this asset when we can simply rebalance our portfolios, maybe get rid of some stocks, maybe sell some gold certificates like what the United States of America is doing. So we're starting to see some pushback here, okay? And then I'm also seeing some Bitcoin maxis on X have some really nasty opinions about it. Recall her, blah, 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 blah. This is the thing, you guys. Crypto matters. Bitcoin's important. I love this industry. This industry has done so much for me, my family, my communities. I've been able to do so much good with this industry. I've been able this is what I do. However, I don't think we should be screaming at the top of our lungs saying to recall these public servants because they don't necessarily see Bitcoin the way they do. To me, that seems a little bit ridiculous. It seems immature. It seems irrational, and it seems like lack of critical thinking, like caveman status. Instead, we should educate the public servants. We should educate our communities. We should educate people on the power of Bitcoin and why you might want to add it to your portfolio or why that it matters. So this type of toxicity is not going to help push these initiatives through. We need to look at this from a more pragmatic stance, in my opinion. Also, shout out to Sky for being here. Channel member. If you guys want to become a channel member, it's like $4 or $5. That helps support me, the channel. If not, no worries. Likes are free. You guys can go ahead and do that. So I don't think we should be talking about recalling. I think we should sit down and educate. I think we should have people that are in the Bitcoin industry that have been proven to be good investors, that understand the Bitcoin mining economics and how these ecosystem works, and then sit down with people like Dennis Porter, then sit down with these public servants and say, hey, let's go over financials. We can, sell this, buy this, blah, blah, blah. I think that that's what we should do. But Wendy Rogers is also right that Bitcoin does not need governments. Bitcoin was created to remove the predatory third party. So Bitcoin doesn't need governments any way, shape, or form. And we're currently trading at $96,000, $97,000. Okay, we can still participate. Just because our state that we decide to live in, does not want to have a Bitcoin strategic reserve, guess what? That doesn't stop you from owning Bitcoin. You get to own Bitcoin. You get to make that choice because Bitcoin has no barriers to entry. Anybody can buy Bitcoin 24/7, 365, and you can custody it yourself. So I think it's really interesting that we're getting into all these heavy conversations about government coming into the crypto industry when it's supposed to be a true decentralized economy. It's kind of wild talking about this in 2025, but at the same time, just because your state does not want to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve, or just because there's other people around you that aren't into it, you get to make the choice yourself if you want to hold it. It is a true decentralized asset. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Please make sure to share this. Also, comment your thoughts below. Do you think it matters if states want to have Bitcoin strategic reserves? Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.